Hello, good afternoon. I'll just do a really brief introduction just so you know who is up here. Juneau SOK chak nachat sati kagwantan ayachat ducting tan yeti ayachat hunakau ayachat. My name is Juneau. I'm also known as Lisa Worl. I am Kagwantan from the Kutit, and I am Ducting Tanyeti, and I work at the Association Alaska School Board, and I've been probably working in public education for about 16, 18 years. I could do the math. Anyway, my kids are in college, and it began when they were in preschool, so, but I'll let my brother introduce himself.
Shakshani shaksai kunakyuke ashkoeni khusnu dakhaya chakade hitach. So my Tlingit name is Shakshani Ish. I grew up in Angoon, but I'm from the Eagle Nest House over in Sitka. I'm up here just to support my sister up here and just to look pretty. And so I might let my hair down, who knows? We'll see what happens.
So, I grew up here in Alaska, in Juneau, in Juneau, and I knew enough to watch. As I was watching this morning, I'm like, as the introductions, and then this afternoon. And so I believe what I think we will do now, rather than try to do a hyper condense, which I don't think would actually do justification to what we had planned to do. It is an important topic, and I thought I'd just share a couple ideas of what we had planned to talk about, and also what we just did recently in Anchorage. I got to work with my boss, Lori Grassgreen, and and I don't know if Chinara is still in the room, but we were, you see her there. So Chinara actually was in the culture integration, so we were going to kind of adapt that and do that. We did. ASB, Association Alaska School Board, worked with the Department of Education, and we had about 320 people, educators from across Alaska in Anchorage. We helped them plan and facilitate, host a bunch of trainings around trauma-informed schools, trauma-engaged schools, which we know is so essential. And we understand, we heard some conversations about our traumas and having the language taken from us and the impact that has had. But I was thinking, okay, the thoughts that I want you to know is that we were there, and even as we did this session in Anchorage, we had people in the room from all across Alaska, not just Southeast, and we had a video highlight with, Isikhan Ahkwan, you guys have seen that with Arias Hoyle, it's pretty awesome. It was positive. But then we also had a harder one that we used for a conversation about Jacob Sippery, who did a high school speech, and he talked about his grandmother and how she had been taken to a boarding school, forcibly and removed from her family, and that impact that what she talked about and how that affected him. And the conversations in that room, and we made sure to frame it in such a way that it talked about how does that inform why trauma-engaged schools practices are essential in our schools. But then we broke out into what we won't get to here is, we kind of define it a bit using Zaretta Hammond, culture responsive education. But also thinking about it, and it's a bit technical because we were working with educators. We think there are so many different strands, and I have, things that I had planned. We had thought we'd maybe have conversations and break out, depending on areas of interest, like around cultural safety and language revitalization and activities. When we think of activities, we're not just talking about those one-time things, and those are all really important. When we talk, what became clear as we had these conversations a week ago with these people from around the state who are working around trauma-informed, if we are saying that we have intergenerational trauma, I've seen this out there, we must also accept that we have intergenerational wisdom, right? And even the singing and the dancing, here as brief as it was healing. And our cultural connectedness is healing. And while I'm sad, my brother and I were prepared to do this, and we're disappointed that we don't have that chance to do that with you. I cannot say that I am sad to have heard more stories from you, heard those conversations, because it helps fill me as I present and work with other educators throughout Southeast. We work at ASB, and the one program I'm funded under, we work with 7 communities throughout Southeast, from Heidelberg up to Yakutat. Also includes Chatham, Sitka, and Juneau, of course. And 6 school districts, 15 partners, including UAS, AEYC, United Way, Tlingit, and Haida. Anyway, what we have is an opportunity. We are not the service providers. We understand best practices because we work with our school boards. So we have a chance to work with people and leaders who are making these decisions. We have a chance to work with those educators throughout Southeast. We have funding to bring them together around trauma-informed schools, around cultural integration, family engagement, along with the other areas of early education, post-secondary, K-12, and those important transitions into kindergarten for kinder readiness between the high schools and then also graduating. But I guess what I wanted the takeaway to be, I was thinking, what can I do in these few moments, because I want to do that trauma-informed schools. One thing I wanted to mention to you all, in case we don't know, this is out there quite a lot, but I know some of you haven't seen it. There's actual published programs. I just printed off from my digital, but it's about 70 pages about. There's a trauma-engaged framework that was put together between ASB, Department of Education, first Alaskans Institute, Alaska Behavioral Health, Alaska Mental Health, many partners here in Alaska who are working and seeing the impacts and trying to help families around that. And we had the input of over 200 educators, counselors, administrators give feedback. But this cultural integration is chapter 9 in this book. And that's just one chapter. And basically the framework is not so much a how-to as much as if you are working on this and you want to start moving that dial, then one of these, like these 11 components, will help you kind of start making your way, and you'll start figuring it out. It includes things like deconstructing trauma, understanding how that impacts the brain and the learning. It includes family partnerships, cultural integration, school-wide planning and processing, relationships. Anyway, there are 11 chapters. So I wanted you guys to know that this is out there, and all of the partners that help contribute to this have this on their website. There are also 3 e-modules that teachers can do, but I mean, it's really open for anybody. We've been suggesting it to our partners who are working with families to go ahead and take it. They just need to set up an account. It's free. We want people to use them. And then there are going to be 3 more around trauma-engaged services. Did you see the paper? I'm wondering if we can get a little help. One of the things I wanted to do while I had my time with you, while we had that time with you, can we get some help passing these out? And basically, we wanted to ask you, you'll see some topics that we had planned to talk about, and we'll hand out, not pass out, hand out these papers. But if you could, it's basically like a quick survey to let us know what of these areas, and because we didn't get to talk to you, but you may get a sense of some of those different areas. As you think about cultural integration, what do these areas interest you? And then also, what sort of resource or tool do you wish you had as you did this work in your classrooms or in your schools or in your community? Because I know we have a mix of people in the room. And if you could take that, and I think in my mind, I was imagining about half the size. So what I'm thinking is, as I looked around the room, people could, mark it, and then you could share it. And it's okay. We'll just count up how many people, check this topic when you see the page. So we can get multiple responses on one page, I guess is what I'm saying. And we'll collect those from you. So Ganesh Chish Hat Ye Adi. Thank you all for coming. I thought I would just highlight what we had planned to cover with you and the conversations we might have had with you, get some feedback from you at least at this point. And then I thought we've all been filled up today. We've had a really good chance to connect and hear our language and hear our stories. And rather than have me at the end of the day, me with my brother quickly try to do a hyper-compressed conversation, which we didn't think would really, do justice to the topic we wanted to talk. We just thought we'd give you some breathing space, maybe before you come back for the celebration. It's part of the resiliency, right? And this is what we know from our people. There's a time and a place for things. So I accept that, and we are going to try to bring our language teachers, our language learners together here. We've been trying to pull that together. We're looking here in the next month. We're thinking December. So especially with our partners, I'm looking at you in the crowd. I've kind of initially mentioned to you that we are planning to pull that together. And our role really is to help you. You do the work, and such important work in Ganesh Chish. And we just want to help you by bringing you together so you can hopefully have that synergy of working together. So Ganesh Chish for that. And also Ganesh Chish for the people who are putting all this work, putting this together. We understand, we appreciate this time anyway to share with you, even if we didn't get what we had planned to. It would have been great, and there will be another time. Ganesh Chish.